I am presenting a brief history of computer. The computer as we know it today had its beginning with a 19th century English mathematics professor named Charles Babbage. He designed the analytical engine, and it was this design that the basic framework of the computers of today are based on. Generally speaking, computers can be classified into three generations. Each generation lasted for a certain period of time, and each gave us either a new and improved computer or an improvement to the existing computer. First generation 1937 to 1946. In 1937, the first electronic digital computer was built by Dr. John V. Atanasoff and Clifford Berry. It was called the Atanasoff-Berry computer, ABC. In 1943, an electronic computer named the Colossus was built for the military. Other developments continued until in 1946. The first general-purpose digital computer, the Electronic Numerical Integrator and Computer, ENIAC, was built. It is said that this computer weighed 30 tons and had 18,000 vacuum tubes, which was used for processing. When this computer was turned on for the first time, lights dimmed in sections of Philadelphia. Computers of this generation could only perform single tasks, and they had no operating system. Second generation 1947 to 1962. This generation of computers used the transistors instead of vacuum tubes, which were more reliable. In 1951, the first computer for commercial use was introduced to the public, the Universal Automatic Computer, UNIVAC 1. In 1953, the International Business Machine, IBM, 650 and 700 series of computers made their mark in the computer world. During this generation of computers, over 100 computer programming languages were developed. Computers had memory and operating system, storage media such as tape and discs were in use. Also were printers for output. Third generation computers. The period of third generation was from 1965 to 1971. The computers of third generation used integrated circuit. In place of transistors, a single IC has many transistors, resistors, and capacitors, along with the associated circuitry. The IC was invented by Jack Kilby. Fourth generation, 1972 to 2010. The fourth generation of computers took advantage of the invention of the microprocessor, more commonly known as a CPU. Microprocessors with Integrated circuits help make it possible for computers to fit easily on a desk and for the introduction of the laptop. Some of the earliest computers to use a microprocessor include the Altair 8800, IBM 5100, and Micro. Today's computers still use a microprocessor, despite the fourth generation being considered to have ended in 2010. Fifth generation, 2010 to present. The fifth generation of computers is beginning to use AI, artificial intelligence, an exciting technology with many potential applications around the world. Leaps have been made in AI technology and computers, but there is still room for much improvement. One of the more well-known examples of AI in computers is IBM's Watson, which was featured on the TV show Jeopardy as a contestant. Other better-known examples include Apple's Siri on the iPhone and Microsoft's Cortana on Windows 8 and Windows 10 computers. The Google search engine also utilizes AI to process user searches. Sixth generation in 1998, Isaac Chuang of the Los Alamos National Laboratory, Neil Gershenfeld of the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, MIT, and Mark Kubinek of the University of California at Berkeley created the first quantum computer that could be loaded with data and output a solution. The sixth generation, it could be defined as the era of intelligent computers based on artificial neural networks or artificial brains. Artificial intelligence, AI, or artificial brains is a concept in programming which enables the devices to think and take actions on their own. This concept has broadly affected the world of gaming, robotics, and voice recognition. They would be computers that use superconductors as raw material for its processors, which would allow not to waste electricity into heat due to no resistance, get performance, and saving energy. The performance gain would be about 30 times that of a same frequency processor using base metals. Hence, AI is the major change in the sixth generation of computers. As of 2021, most still consider us to be in the fifth generation as AI continues to be developed. One possible contender for a future sixth generation is with the work being done with quantum computers. However, until it becomes more developed and widely used, it's still only a promising technology. My second presentation is information technology from oldest to the present. Information technology has been around for a long time. Basically, as long as people have been around, humans have always been quick to adapt technologies for better and faster communication. There are four main ages that divide up the history of information technology, but only the latest age, electronic, and some of the electromechanical age really affects us today. One is prima mechanical. The earliest age of technology, it can be defined as the time between 3000 BC and 1450 AD, when humans first started communicating. They would try to use language to make simple pictures, petroglyphs, to tell a story, map their terrain, or keep accounts such as how many animals one owned, etc. This trend continued with the advent of formal language and better media such as rugs, papyrus, and eventually paper. The first ever calculator, the abacus, was invented in this period after the development of numbering systems. Number two is mechanical. The mechanical age is when we first start to see connections between our current technology and its ancestors. The mechanical age can be defined as the time between 1450 and 1840. A lot of new technologies were developed in this era due to an explosion of interest in computation and information. Technologies like the slide ruler, an analog computer used for multiplying and dividing, were invented in this period. Blaise Pascal invented the Pascaline, a very popular mechanical computer capable of adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing two numbers. Initially called the arithmetic machine, it was granted a royal privilege by King Louis XIV of France in 1649. Next is electromechanical. The electromechanical age heralded the beginnings of telecommunications as we know it today. This age can be defined roughly as the time between 1840 and 1940. Several revolutionary technologies were invented in this period, such as the Morse code, telephone, radio, etc. All of these technologies were crucial stepping stones towards modern information technology systems. The first large-scale automatic digital computer in the United States was the Harvard Mark I, created by IBM in 1944. This 8 feet by 50 feet by 2 feet big computer weighed a whopping 5 tons and had to be programmed using punch cards. Its first use was by the Manhattan Project to simulate the feasibility of an implosion to detonate an atomic bomb. Next is electronic. These machines used electronic switches in the form of vacuum tubes instead of the electromechanical relays seen in the previous era. In principle, the electronic switches would be more reliable since they would have no moving parts that would wear out. But the technology was still new at that time, and the tubes were comparable to relays in reliability. The major benefit of electronic switches was that they could open and close thousands of times faster than relays. ENIAC, Electronic Numerical Integrator and Computer, was the first electronic general-purpose computer. It could solve a large class of numerical problems through reprogramming. Although it was designed and primarily used to calculate artillery firing tables for the United States Army's Ballistic Research Laboratory. Its first programs included a study of the feasibility of the thermonuclear weapon. Next is information age and the internet. The information age made possible by the advent of electronic computers is characterized by the shift from traditional industry to an economy based on information digitization. The onset of the information age is associated with the digital revolution, just as the Industrial Revolution marked the onset of the industrial age. The internet, synonymous with modern IT, was conceived of as a fail-proof network that could connect computers together and be resistant to any single point of failure. Because of decentralization, the internet cannot be totally destroyed in one event. If large areas are disabled, the information can be easily rerouted. Its initial software applications were email and computer file transfer. Through the internet itself has existed since 1969. It was with the invention of the World Wide Web in 1989 by British scientist Tim Berners-Lee and its introduction in 1991 that the internet became an easily accessible network. The internet is now a global platform for accelerating the flow of information and is pushing many, if not most, other forms of media into obsolescence. My presentation will end up to here. Thank you.